We are going to be building an app in our web browser today using IDX. If you came here to see Eric, I have some unfortunate news. Eric had to call in sick for this event. So if you came here to see Eric, here's Eric. So everybody say hi, Eric. Hi, Eric. Thank you. Yeah. So Eric had one half of the script memorized, and he was going to do a lot of the typing. And I had the other half of the script to memorize, and I was going to do a lot of the talking. So we shared a brain because operating my hands and my mouth at the same time is beyond my scope. But I'm going to do my best today. So I'm going to go right into the script that I have memorized, and we're going to start talking about what we're going to be building today. Eric, why don't you tell everybody? Oh, that's right. Eric's not going to do that. So I'm going to be doing that. So as we heard in the keynote this morning, Michael and Francis wanted to highlight two important things for us to remember when it comes to app development with Flutter and Firebase. What do you want to build, and how can we make app developers succeed? So traditionally, when it came to building apps, you needed three folks. You needed your iOS people, your Android people, and your web people. And this is how we get fragmented, apps distributed, things like that. So with Flutter, you just need your Flutter people that work on features, right? So you can have your login features, your storage features, all these other things. So today, I'm going to be your Flutter team. And I'm going to be using my handy-dandy Chromebook, so I don't need to use any, expensive machines. I'm going to build everything right here on my laptop in the browser. So let's get started. It's like the third time I said that. I'm just so excited to get started. So when I definitely prepared for this talk. I'm not a super great designer, as you can probably tell by the way I dressed. Like, no real designer would wear this color yellow. So I decided to run out to find a designer in the airport, and luckily I found one. As soon as I landed in Prague, I was getting off the plane, I ran into a designer. I said, hey, would you mind helping me out with like an app design? Because I gotta give a presentation on Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. Right? Yeah, okay, today's Tuesday. And they, we stopped by a restaurant real quick, and I was haggling them to give me a design. So they gave me this beautiful app design on a napkin, which is great. And I personally work better from Figma designs. So I was like, you know what, this is perfect. I'm going to go. He wouldn't give me a Figma design in the airport. So I said, I'm going to import this into Figma. I opened up Figma, and I got starting to import it in. And as I was importing it in, I realized I don't really know how to use Figma. So here's my app design that I did in Google Draw. It's going to be great. So let's get started doing that. So I'll start with creating my Firebase project, so that way I know where everything lives. So we'll go and create a new Firebase project. And this is the part in the script where I'd say, Eric, I like to name my Firebase projects after my favorite colleague. So I'll just put in Eric's favorite colleague, which is me, obviously. So we'll go ahead and get set up. We're not going to use analytics today, so we'll go ahead and create the project. Okay, we don't have to listen to me sing some elevator music. What we'll do is we'll hop into IDX, and we'll start building our design. So I am cheating a little bit by using snippets. Whoops. Grab my imports, and then here's like the base app, and we don't need all this. So we'll just get that out of there. That's a lot of stuff. All right, and then multiple sheets, UI app. And then we should make this look good. So I'll say Dart format. There we go. Looking good, looking good. Ooh, and then I got to update a few things. We don't want to show the base app. We want to show a chat page. So we'll do that. And hot reloading. Just to give everybody a reminder of what our app is supposed to look like. Ooh, our Firebase project is ready, so we'll go in there. Sorry if it seems like I'm going fast. I did this presentation for the first time yesterday, and I had got it done in about 25 minutes, so I'm going to try and do it in 20 minutes, so that way I don't host up for lunch. So this is what our app is supposed to look like. And there we go. So I'm missing the messages section, but I got the basic design done. Thank you. Oh, wonderful. So we'll come back to the Firebase app. And we'll go to build, and in a chat app, there's two things you want to do. You want to log in, and you want to chat to people. So we'll go to authentication, and we'll set that up, so that way we can authenticate into our app. And the authentication method I'm going to choose is anonymous. It's a very hard word for me to say, so I'll enable that. And this is just a feature that allows you to onboard users easier to your application, right? So how many people like signing into apps? Like, you want to try out the app and you just love signing into it right away and getting emails and all that? No, no one. So this is a way to give your users an opportunity to try out your app and see if they really want to commit to signing up and creating a login. If you don't want to use anonymous, we have options for email, password, phone, and then all the socials. And if you don't like those, we have OpenID Connect and SAML as well. So after we get anonymous authentication, the other thing that we need to do is activate a database. So Firestore is our real-time database. So as you write to Firestore, it will push it out and send it out to everybody that's connected to that database collection. So we'll get that set up. And we're going to start in test mode. Don't ever do this in production. I'm going to do it today, but this allows your database rules to be open to everybody. You should have really comprehensive security rules set. But we're going to roll the ball today, and I'm just going to hope that nobody tries to pen test me today. So we'll go ahead and set it up to be provisioned in Europe, because that's where we are. Yes, OK. So we'll come back to our app, and let's get authentication going. I have a little cheat sheet here for myself. So what we want to do is we want to change this login, logout button to do something, because right now it does nothing. So we have this onPress method for our login, logout button. And what we want to do is we want to grab an instance to Firebase authentication. Firebase auth. I actually realized I did not link this project to Firebase yet. So I'm going to do that first. Flutter Fire, configure, the project, Nohe. There we go. So now it's looking through all my available Firebase projects. And it's going to find that project because I use the project flag in the terminal. Yep, those are all the platforms I'm going to want to set it up for. So now it's just going through and it's fetching my API keys to connect to Firebase. And it's also setting up my Google services.json file and my Google services.plist file, which I believe is for iOS. And then it's going to create a Firebase options file for us in my lib folder. So we'll give this a second to go. And is Firebase set up? Yep, here we go. Firestore is set up. And the rules are there. Yay. Everybody having a good day so far? Yeah, how am I doing? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Somewhere in the middle? All right. Yeah, thank you. So yes, we want to do that. All right, now we're actually connected to Firestore and Firebase. So if you look in Firebase options.dart, you could see my API keys. Please don't pen test me. And yeah, so that's everything that we need to connect to Firestore. So I'll go ahead and get back to adding authentication. So we will connect to Firebase auth.instance. Then we'll say if auth.current user does not equal null, we're signed in. So we will want to sign out. So we'll say auth.sign out. And that's the beautiful thing I like about Firebase is when you want to do something and you don't really know how to do it, sometimes you could just guess on what the API is called. So if we're not signed in, which would be the else case, we'll want to sign in, anonymously. And I don't know how to spell anonymously. Anonymously. Close enough. So there we go. We logged in. And now we want to show the authentication state. So we'll come down to our chat view where we have a stream. And we will want to set the stream to Firebase auth.instance to grab the singleton again. And the auth state changes. So every time you log in or log out, it comes in as a stream and you can listen to it and you can react to that. So here we're just reacting to the stream as it comes in and saying sign in, sign out. And then we're going to update our user ID in the app. So let's try that out. Log in. Sometimes I need to do a hard restart, and that usually helps. Uh-oh. Maybe it's not going to help. Ooh, I have a syntax error somewhere, I think. If. Expected an identifier. Ooh, brain's not working today. Final auth equals. Going back to my cheat sheet. No. One thing I also forgot to do was actually initialize Firebase at the top. I just get so excited to show the fun stuff. So we actually got to initialize Firebase. So we do widgets, Flutter, binding dot ensure initialized. Great, and that makes sure that we're connected to the underlying platform. And then I want to call a future, because this will be an async function, because then we are going to call to connect it, await Firebase dot initialize app options, and then we'll grab the default options, default Firebase options dot current platform. There we go. Import that. And initialize app. And I don't know how to spell anything. What is this? Ensure. There we go. Perfect. So now we should be connected to Firebase. And we should be able to listen to the stream, and it looks like my preview might not be working correctly, but we'll try to get that working. Live demos. Great. So while that is getting spun up, the next thing I want to do is send chat messages to the database. So we'll let the preview load because I have 7 minutes left. I want to go a little bit quickly here because what's a chat app if you can't chat, right? So let's go ahead and try to chat. I believe I want to come down to the chat text input and do something with the message object. So we will do Firebase Firestore.instance, which grabs the singleton of the project of the Firestore database, and then we'll just add a message to it. So we're saying, hey, I want to add a single document to this collection of documents, which is multiple versions of the same document generally. And then I want to add a object to it, and we need the messages object. So we'll come up here and we'll say dot messages. There we go. And here's our messages class, so that way we know what the messages look like. Can I log in yet? Nope. Oh, hey, there we go. Login works. And you can tell by the user ID changing. So we'll come back down here. We'll go to collection. And again, the API is just super straightforward. I want to have a collection, and I want to add to it. So what do I want to add? I want to add a message. And what's that message going to contain? A UID for the currently logged in user, which we can get from the snapshot, which is the snapshot listener. So this is coming from the stream. UID. And then we want to add a text message. And I believe that we then want to call .to Firestore. So all this does is it converts it to a format that is readable by Firestore. So as you send it up, it's going to be a map of string and dynamic. And that's just a convenience method for the class that we have created up here called message. So there's a to Firestore. Everybody can read that, right? Yeah. So now let's send our first message. Hi, Mom. She's going to be in here chatting with me later. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to read these messages out, because what's a chat app if you can't read the messages? So what we want to do is we want to do a query to read the messages. So we will create a message query. And the message query, again, we'll get that from Firebase Firestore. So we're just grabbing the instance. So we'll go back to the singleton. And then we will grab the collection, which was messages. And then we will want to order by a timestamp. So that way we know what messages, the order they came in. And then once we order by the timestamp, we will want to do descending true. So the oldest messages show up at the top, and the newest messages show up at the bottom. Great. So now that we have our messages query, we'll come back down to the bottom of the chat view, and we will get rid of this placeholder because we don't need it. Instead, what we are going to use is I think it's a, is it a list view? Yeah. I'm so glad so many of you have seen this before. It helps me a lot. So we'll add a list view. And with the list view, we need to listen to a stream. And that stream will be the message query. Dot snapshot. That's what it is, a stream builder. Yeah, okay. Stream builder. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. Stream builder. Oops. What is this complaining about? Am I missing things? Yeah, I'm missing the builder. So then we will add in the builder, and the builder takes a context and a snapshot. And with that builder and snapshot, we should probably show a loading bar. So if we're waiting for something, we should do something with that. So with our snapshot listener, we can listen to the connection state. And if it's in a state of waiting, we should show a circular progress indicator. So we'll just show a little spinner. Indicator. There we go. Oops. Const. This is why Eric was running the script, or running the hands, and I was doing the talking. So then we'll do a return list view dot builder. View dot builder. And then that takes an item builder. But there's a few other things I want to do. So I want to always start at the bottom of the list. So we'll say reverse true. And then we will want to do item count. So that way we know how many to render. And that's going to come from the snapshot.data.size. There we go. Oop, comma. And then in the item builder, we take a context and an index. Ooh, catching up to me there. And then what we want to do is we want to grab the message. So message equals message.from Firestore. And then we want to grab the snapshots. Oops, snapshot dot data dot docs to grab the documents from the snapshot. And then we want to grab the index. So that way we grab the specific item in that snapshot. Dot data, and then we want to say as a map of string dynamic. There we go. And then we want to actually display the message, so we'll say return padding. And then this will take two parameters, padding. So we want to say const edge inset dot all. So we want to give a little padding around our messages. And then we want to have a child, which would be a chat bubble of the actual message text. So dot text. And that should be it. Ooh, and a semicolon. And another semicolon. And let's see if we get some messages. And I'm right at 12:20. So I cut out 5 minutes, and I had a lot of typos, but hopefully, uh-oh. Hello, world. Let's see if they actually showed up in the database. Ooh, they did show up. Hi, Mom. Speed up builder. Reverse true. Snapshot.data.size. That's coming from here. And then we say from Firestore. Huh. Well, you know, if you were here with me yesterday when I demoed this, it would work perfectly. But obviously, you know, on stage, there's going to be some technical issues. And again, like, I had the mouth operation and Eric had the hands operation. So I think if Eric was up here typing, it might work a little bit better. But that was building a chat app in 20 minutes. Does anybody have any questions about maybe not why it doesn't work, but...
Anyone?
Thank you. I had a question related to the Flutterfire CLI.
Okay.
Was it pre-installed on the IDX editor, or did you install it manually?
I installed it manually this time, yeah. If that's something you'd like to see, there's somebody right here in the front row that you can talk to. Yeah.
Thanks.
Just drop a hint, you know. Any other questions for me?
Any other questions?
Hi, can you use the Firebase emulators?
Yes. So the Firebase CLI is pre-installed, and I believe the emulators are pre-installed. And the IDX guy is shaking his head yes. Yeah. Anybody want to tell any jokes, maybe? No?
Anyway, let's just give it up for Alexander. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Even though the demo gods didn't show you that much mercy, I believe this works. So again, give it up for Alexander. Thank you so much.
Find me later. I'll have it working later. Yeah.
Definitely.